The morning my husband canceled the surgery meant to save my life. He kissed my forehead and said, "I'll be here when you wake up." I held his wrist. "Promise? You're my wife." "Claire, where else would I be?" 20 minutes later, Nurse Rachel entered. "Mrs. Cole, your procedure has been postponed. Until this afternoon? We don't have a new date." I turned to Ethan. He didn't look surprised. "You knew." "Claire, let me handle this. There was an emergency. My aortic aneurysm can rupture at any time." "What emergency outranks that?" "I can't discuss another patient." I stood and grabbed my four-pole. "Get back in bed," he ordered. "Tell me who took my operating room." "You've been sedated." "I'm awake enough to know when my husband is lying." At the end of the unit, Vanessa Lane lay on a gurney outside operating room 4. She was wearing Ethan's watch, the one I had given him for our 10th anniversary. "Why is she wearing your watch?" Ethan blocked my path. "Go back to your room." Vanessa looked at him. "You said you'd told her." "Told me what?" Neither answered. I stared at Ethan. "Are you sleeping with her?" "This isn't the place." "Say no." He stayed silent. Vanessa reached for his hand. He let her. "How long?" "Vanessa had chest pain last night." Ethan said. "Her valve procedure became urgent. She told the foundation board last week it could wait until fall. Her condition changed." "Is she unstable?" A nurse hesitated. "She's stable right now." I looked at Ethan. "You canceled open-heart surgery for a stable patient?" "It's complicated." Vanessa sat up. "The cardiac center financing closes Friday. I have to finish the donor agreements. My surgery was canceled because you have a presentation? Hundreds of jobs depend on that project. And my life depends on the surgery." Ethan stepped closer. "You can wait a few days." "Doctor, Whitaker had told us waiting was dangerous." Ethan had been beside me when he said it. "You promised you'd be there when I woke up, knowing there would be no surgery. I was trying to keep you calm. You lied because it was convenient." The operating room doors opened. "We're ready for Ms. Lane," a nurse said. Vanessa squeezed Ethan's hand. I waited for him to choose me. He didn't. "Go back with Rachel," he said. "I'll talk to you afterward." "So was I," I whispered. Then he walked through the doors beside her. My heart raced. Pressure spread into my neck, and my knees gave out. Rachel caught me. "Don't call Ethan. We need a doctor." Anyone but him. A man in dark blue scrubs hurried over. "I'm Doctor Gabriel Hart." "Where's the pain?" "My chest." He checked the monitor. "EKG. Laps. Urgence CT." I grabbed his sleeve. "No one from my husband's team." "Understood." The scan showed no rupture, but Gabriel didn't soften the truth. "You're stable now. That doesn't make delaying surgery safe." Ethan said I could wait. "Your husband isn't your operating surgeon. He runs this department." "That's a title, not proof he's right." My phone buzzed. "Wire transfer completed. $3. 000,000. The money had left a Whitmore family account for Larkwell Strategic Consulting. I called the bank. "Who authorized this?" "Dr. Ethan Cole." "He doesn't have authority for that amount. Our records show his limit was increased 3 days ago with your signed approval." 3 days ago. Ethan had brought papers to my hospital room. Routine forms. He had said, "Sign where I marked them." I had trusted him. "Send me the documents. Freeze all outgoing transfers." Ethan entered before the call ended. "What are you doing with Hart?" "Protecting myself." "What is Larkwell Strategic Consulting?" His face changed. "It's connected to the hospital expansion. You hid an authorization form in my surgery paperwork and moved $3 million. You signed it. You deceived me. You're emotional and medicated. I'm also the owner of the money." His voice hardened. "If you freeze those accounts, you could destroy the cardiac center. You canceled my surgery for your mistress and transferred my money to her project." "That's not what happened." Then why are you scared? For the first time, Ethan had no answer. I called Maya Torres, my attorney and oldest friend. Claire, aren't you supposed to be in surgery? My husband gave my operating room to Vanessa. Maya went silent. What do you need? Freeze every joint account. Suspend all trust payments. Remove Ethan's signing authority. Once I do that, there's no quiet way back. I looked at Ethan in surgical scrubs. I'm not going back, including the hospital expansion, especially the hospital expansion. Ethan stepped toward me. Claire, don't. I ended the call. The man who had canceled my surgery finally looked afraid. And for the first time that morning, it wasn't because I might die. By noon, I was no longer a patient at St. Matthews. Maya arranged the transfer before Ethan could stop it. Gabriel sent my scans to Commonwealth Heart Institute, and an ambulance moved me across Boston with a cardiac nurse beside me. Ethan called 6 times. I answered the 7th. Where are you? He demanded. Somewhere you don't control. You cannot transfer hospitals without consulting me. I'm the patient. I'm your husband. You stopped acting like one when you gave my surgery to Vanessa. Her procedure was successful. I closed my eyes. That's the first thing you tell me? You asked what happened. I didn't ask about her. Claire, come back to St. Matthews. I can have you rescheduled. When? He hesitated. Early next week. Dr. Whitaker said I shouldn't wait. We discussed this. No, you decided. And I almost collapsed trying to get an answer. You didn't collapse because of your aneurysm. Your scan was stable. Gabriel said stable doesn't mean safe. His voice changed. Hart wants my job. Gabriel didn't cancel my surgery. He's using you. You mean the way you used my signature? That transfer was legitimate. My attorney disagrees. You called Maya? She froze the accounts. Silence. Then Ethan said, undo it. No. Claire, the hospital has payroll obligations. The frozen money isn't hospital payroll. It's my trust money. The project depends on that funding. My life depended on that operating room. You're punishing thousands of people because you're angry with me. I'm protecting myself from a man who lied to me in a hospital bed. Don't do this over the phone. You did worse in person. I ended the call. Maya arrived an hour later carrying a laptop and a folder. You look terrible, she said. You always know what to say. You want sympathy or competence. Competence. Good. Ethan's access is suspended. The bank flagged the $3 million wire. Larkwell's account is temporarily restricted. Who owns it? Not Vanessa directly. I waited. Her brother does. Maya said, Trevor Lane. He runs a marketing company out of Providence. What does he know about cardiac centers? Probably as much as I know about neurosurgery. I stared at the transfer document. He hid the authorization in my pre-op forms. He may claim you signed willingly. I didn't know what I was signing. We'll prove the document was presented under false pretenses. What if we can't? Then we prove the transaction violated the trust's purpose. She sat beside me. Claire, this may be bigger than one transfer. How much bigger? Your trust guaranteed $60 million in financing for the new cardiac center. Ethan also formed a company called Cole Cardiac Innovations. I frowned. I've never heard of it. It received consulting payments from 2 hospital vendors. How much? Just over $800,000. My stomach turned. Vanessa. She approved both contracts. I looked away. 10 years earlier, Ethan had owned 2 suits. One was too tight in the shoulders. The other had a coffee stain near the cuff. On our 3rd date, he had admitted he was nearly $200,000 in debt. I shouldn't be taking you somewhere this expensive. He had said, we're eating burgers. It's a restaurant with cloth napkins. I laughed. I can afford my own burger. That's not the point. What is the point? I don't want to need you. I had mistaken his pride for dignity. I had paid off his highest interest loan after we got engaged. I had introduced him to donors. funded his research, and defended him when my mother said he loved ambition more than he loved me. Ethan had once held my face in both hands and said, "One day, I'll be successful enough that no one will think I married you for money." I had kissed him and answered, "I never thought that." Now I wondered if he had. Maya closed the laptop. "Claire?" I gave him everything he said he was too proud to ask for. "You loved him." I made him powerful. He made his own choices. Before I could answer, a nurse entered. "Doctor, Hart would like to speak with you." Gabriel came in holding a tablet. "I reviewed your imaging with the surgical team." "How bad is it?" "Your aneurysm has grown faster than expected. Your valve is also placing more strain on your heart." "How long can I wait?" "I recommend surgery within 72 hours. Maya leaned forward. "Can you schedule it?" "Yes, but we need a decision today." I looked at Gabriel. "Are you operating? If you choose me, would you choose you?" Maya gave me a look. Gabriel didn't smile. "Yes, confident, prepared. What are my odds?" "The surgery carries significant risk. Waiting carries a different risk, and I believe it is worse." He handed me the tablet. "I've listed the procedure, complications, alternatives, and the names of 2 other surgeons who can review your case. You're giving me competitors? I'm giving you choices." Ethan had spent years telling me only he knew what was best. Gabriel gave me information and waited. "I need an hour." I said, "You have it." After he left, Maya touched my arm. "You trust him?" "I don't trust anyone." "That's probably healthy for today." My phone buzzed. A message from Vanessa. There was a photo attached. She was sitting in Ethan's office, wearing one of his white shirts. The clock in the picture showed it had been taken weeks earlier. Her message read, "He chose the patient who mattered. Stop pretending this was only business." Maya read it over my shoulder. "She's trying to hurt you." She succeeded. "Save it." "I know." Another message arrived. "Release the funding, and I'll convince him to reschedule you." I handed the phone to Maya. "That sounds like extortion. It sounds like evidence." The door opened. Ethan entered carrying flowers and a cup from my favorite coffee shop. Maya stood. "You're not authorized to be here," she said. "I'm visiting my wife." "Your wife revoked your medical access." He looked at me. "Claire, can we talk privately?" "Maya stays." He placed the flowers down. "I brought your usual. I'm not allowed coffee before surgery." His eyes moved to the consent papers. "Hart scheduled you?" "He recommended surgery within 72 hours. He's being aggressive." He showed me the scans. "I know your case better than he does. You knew it well enough to cancel me." Pain crossed his face. I made the wrong decision. It was the first honest sentence he had spoken. I hated how badly I wanted to believe the next one. "I'm sorry," he said. "Vanessa pressured me. The board pressured me. I thought I could move your procedure a few days without putting you in danger. You knew there was danger. I believed it was manageable." "And the affair?" He looked at Maya. "Can she leave?" "No." He lowered his voice. "It started last year." I gripped the blanket. "Last year? It wasn't supposed to become serious." "Was it serious when she wore your watch?" "I shouldn't have given it to her." "Was it serious when you put her in my operating room?" I panicked. "About losing her?" "About losing the project." I laughed bitterly. "At least your priorities are consistent." He pulled a document from his coat. "The funding freeze has triggered a default notice. Sign this temporary authorization, and the project can continue while we resolve everything else." Maya stepped between us. "You came here for money." "I came here to save what Claire and I built." "I built it," I said. "You put your name on it." His expression hardened. "You're medicated. You shouldn't be making financial decisions." Maya went still. "What did you say?" Ethan ignored her. "Claire, I'm worried about your judgment. You weren't worried when I signed your authorization. That was different." "How?" "You trusted me then, and now I know better." He stared at me for a long moment. Then he said, If you refuse necessary treatment because of this emotional crisis, I may have to intervene. My pulse jumped. Intervene how? As your spouse. Maya stepped closer. You have no authority. I'm her medical proxy. Not anymore, I said. His face changed. I revoked it this morning. You can't make that decision under sedation. I already did. You're proving my point. Gabriel entered before Ethan could continue. What's happening? Ethan turned on him. You have no right to schedule surgery without consulting her established team. Gabriel looked at me. Do you want Dr. Cole here? No. Then he needs to leave. Ethan pointed at the consent form. If you operate on her while she's emotionally compromised, I'll report you. Gabriel's voice remained calm. If you interfere with her treatment after she revoked your authority, the hospital will document it. Ethan looked at me. You're choosing him over your husband? I'm choosing the doctor who didn't give away my surgery. Security arrived 2 minutes later. As Ethan was escorted out, he turned back. This isn't over. Claire. Gabriel waited until the door closed. Then he handed me my chart. There's something you need to see. A new note had been added that morning under Ethan's name. It described me as paranoid, emotionally unstable, and potentially incapable of making informed medical decisions. Maya read it twice. He's building a case, she said. For what? I asked. She looked at me. To take control of your treatment and possibly your money. Gabriel set the consent form in front of me. We can still operate. I picked up the pen. Before I could sign, his phone rang. He listened for several seconds, then looked at me. What happened? I asked. St. Matthew's legal department has requested an emergency review of your transfer. On what grounds? Gabriel's jaw tightened. Your husband claims you're not competent to consent. The competency review began 40 minutes later. Dr. Evelyn Brooks sat beside my bed with Maya, Gabriel, and a hospital attorney. Do you know why you're here? She asked. My husband canceled my heart surgery for his mistress, moved $3 million from my trust, and now claims I'm incompetent because I stopped him. She asked the date, my location, the risks of surgery, and what would happen if I refused treatment. Then she said, why did you revoke your husband's medical authority? Because he used it to override my surgeon and protect his affair. He describes you as paranoid. Paranoia is suspicion without evidence. I have a bank transfer, a hidden authorization, and a shell company tied to his mistress's brother. Maya handed her the records. 20 minutes later, Dr. Brooks closed the file. Mrs. Cole understands her diagnosis and choices. I find no evidence that she lacks decision-making capacity. The attorney frowned. You're certain? Competence is not revoked because a woman is angry with her husband. I signed the consent form. Gabriel took it. Surgery is tomorrow morning. The attorney's phone rang. After listening, he said, St. Matthews withdrew its request. Maya checked her laptop. Their board just learned the Whitmore Trust suspended the $60 million guarantee. Gabriel looked at me. You pulled all hospital funding? No. Existing patient care and payroll are protected. I froze the expansion money and every account Ethan could touch. My phone rang. Ethan. I answered on speaker. What did you do? He shouted. I removed your access. The lenders are pulling out. They were relying on my guarantee. You're destroying 20 years of work. You used 10 of those years to build it with my money. This isn't about money. Then why did you call? Silence. You didn't call when I transferred hospitals. I continued. You called when the bank called you. I made one bad decision. You lied, moved my money, altered my chart, and tried to have me declared incompetent. I was scared of losing me, of losing everything. At least that was honest. Come home after surgery. He said, we can fix this. You slept with Vanessa for a year. It wasn't love. That doesn't help. She made me feel like I wasn't living in your shadow. My shadow. Every donor knew where the money came from. Every promotion came with the Whitmore name attached. So you hated me because I helped you? His voice dropped. I hated needing you. The affair had humiliated me. Those 4 words broke something deeper. You didn't have to punish me for loving you. I said. I ended the call. Maya touched my arm. Say something. I whispered. He's an ass. That's your legal opinion? It's my professional conclusion. A nurse brought me an envelope. Inside was a note from Vanessa. Meet me alone. I can prove Ethan lied to both of us. Maya read it. No. She knows something. She also threatened you. I'll meet her here. You'll wait outside. That is not alone. She doesn't need to know. Vanessa arrived an hour later wearing a coat over hospital clothes. You froze everything. She said, yes, the cardiac center is dead. Then you shouldn't have built it with stolen money. She sat across from me. Restore the funding, and I'll leave Ethan. I laughed. You think I want him back. You still love him. That doesn't mean I want the man he became. Then save the project. Why? Because if it collapses, investigators will examine every contract. Now we're getting somewhere. She lowered her voice. Ethan created Cole Cardiac Innovations to collect fees from vendors. You approved the contracts. He said they were legitimate consulting payments. When did you learn they weren't? She looked away. What about Larkwell? I asked. My brother owns it. And the $3 million? Ethan increased the fee. I told him it was too much. But you accepted my operating room. Her face hardened. I had leverage. Ethan needed me quiet. You threatened to expose him. I said I'd show the board the invoices if he abandoned me. And he canceled my surgery to protect himself. I asked for help. He made the decision. I believed that part. He wasn't choosing you. I said he was protecting his career. Vanessa flinched. I thought he loved me. So did I. For one moment. We were simply 2 women who had trusted the same liar. Then she said, release the money, and I'll give you every invoice and email. No, you need evidence. I have enough to stop him, not enough to destroy him. I don't want him destroyed. I want him unable to hurt anyone else. She stood. You'll regret refusing me. Maybe. But I won't pay you to tell the truth. After she left, Gabriel entered. She threatened you? She offered evidence in exchange for funding. Did you agree? No. He checked my chart. Your surgery is at 7. Why does Ethan hate you? Gabriel stopped. Not tonight. He says you've spent years trying to ruin him. He says that when he needs control. That isn't an answer. Gabriel set down the tablet. 7 years ago, I reported him after a patient nearly died. For what? Changing a surgical record. My pulse jumped. Did he cause the complication? He made a decision outside protocol. The complication may have happened anyway. The altered record was what I could prove. Why didn't you tell me? Because your surgery should not depend on whether you like me. A nurse entered with another envelope. This one came from Ethan. Inside was an old hospital report with Gabriel's name on the first page. A note was clipped to it. Before you trust him with your heart, ask why he spent 7 years trying to ruin me. I looked at Gabriel. Is anything in this report false? No. Is anything missing? A great deal. You want me to trust you? No. He said, I want you to understand your choices. And if I choose another surgeon, I'll transfer the case tonight. Ethan had always demanded faith. Gabriel offered an exit. That should have made the decision easy. It didn't. I looked at the clock. Fewer than 12 hours remained before surgery. For the first time since leaving St. Matthews, I wondered whether Ethan's final warning contained one piece of truth. I read Ethan's report 3 times. The first page said Gabriel had accused him of negligence after a patient developed severe complications. The final page said the hospital found insufficient evidence to discipline Ethan. It says you were wrong. I told Gabriel. It says the hospital didn't punish him. That sounds like the same thing. It isn't. Maya returned with a file on her tablet. I requested the full investigation. She said, Ethan sent you the summary. He left out 46 pages. She handed it to me. The patient had suffered a major bleed after Ethan ignored a safety protocol. Gabriel reported the incident after discovering that Ethan had changed the operative record. I looked at Gabriel. Why wasn't he disciplined? The hospital settled with the family. He said, Ethan was valuable. The board decided protecting him was cheaper than admitting what happened. And you've hated him ever since. I don't trust him. That isn't what I asked. Gabriel held my gaze. Yes, I hated what he did, but I'm not asking you to choose me because of Ethan. What are you asking? Choose the surgeon whose plan you understand. He placed 2 names beside my consent form. Doctor, Kim can take over. Doctor, Brennan can review your case before dawn. I'll give either of them every record. You'd step aside? If that makes you safer. Yes. Ethan had spent 10 years telling me that no one else could protect me as well as he could. Gabriel offered to leave. I signed the form. I choose you. He nodded once. Then I'll see you in the operating room. After he left, Maya sat beside me. You're sure? No. That's honest. I'm sure Ethan lied. I'm sure waiting is dangerous. That has to be enough. My phone rang at 5 in the morning. Ethan. I answered because I wanted to hear what kind of man called his wife hours before heart surgery. Don't let heart operate. He said, Good morning to you too. I sent you the report. You sent the part that helped you. He has wanted revenge for years. He offered to transfer my case. That proves nothing. It proves he gave me a choice. I gave you choices. You gave my operating room to Vanessa. He exhaled sharply. Claire, listen to me. The board has suspended my administrative authority pending review. That was fast. Vanessa is talking to compliance. Maybe she finally realized you chose your career, not her. This isn't a joke. No, my surgery wasn't a joke either. If you release the funding, I can contain this. There it was again. Money before my life. I'm filing for divorce today. Silence filled the line. Then he said, You don't mean that. Maya already drafted the petition. You're scared. You're making decisions because you think you might die. I'm making this decision because you knew I might die and still canceled my surgery. I thought I could reschedule you. You thought you could fix everything afterward. I can. No, Ethan. You can repair tissue. You can't repair trust after you use it as a weapon. His voice broke. I love you. I closed my eyes. Part of me still wanted those words. That was the cruelest truth. You loved being forgiven. I said, That isn't the same thing. Claire. Goodbye. Ethan. I ended the call. Maya filed the divorce petition before the nurse took my phone. Done. She said, That felt too easy. The paperwork is easy. Leaving someone you loved is the hard part. I still love him. I know. What does that say about me? That you're human. It doesn't mean you have to go back. Gabriel came in with the anesthesiologist. He explained the procedure again. Replacement of the damaged section of my aorta. Repair or replacement of the valve. Possible complications. Possible death. He didn't tell me everything would be fine. I appreciated him for that. Any final questions? He asked. 1. Go ahead. If something goes wrong, don't let Ethan make decisions. He has no legal authority. I need to hear you say it. He will not control your care. I nodded. Then let's do it. The next thing I remembered was someone asking me to open my eyes. I tried. My body felt disconnected from me. Claire, Maya said, You're okay. I couldn't speak around the tube. She gripped my hand. The surgery worked. Gabriel repaired the aorta and replaced the valve. You're in the ICU. I tried to ask how long. She understood anyway. 7 hours. Gabriel came later, after the breathing tube was removed. What happened? I whispered. Your aortic wall was thinner than the scans suggested. How bad? He paused. Bad enough that waiting another week would have been reckless. And another month? You may not have had another month. I turned my face away. Ethan had known the measurements. He had read the same scans. He had heard Dr. Whitaker's warning. He had still told me I could wait. Did he come here? I asked. Twice. You didn't let him in? No. Thank you. He's been suspended from clinical duties. I looked back at him. Because of me? Because of the altered chart, the undisclosed financial interests, and the scheduling decision. You exposed it. He caused it. That afternoon, I agreed to see Ethan for 5 minutes. He entered without his white coat. For the first time in years, he looked like the man I had met before anyone called him brilliant. He sat beside me. They told me how close it was. He said, "You already knew it was dangerous." I didn't know it was that bad. You knew enough. He covered his face. Vanessa threatened to expose the vendor payments. She said she would go to the board unless I helped her. So you gave her my surgery. I thought you could wait 48 hours. You gambled my life for your job. I panicked. No, panic is one moment. You changed the schedule, reassigned the team, lied to me, and altered my chart. Those were decisions. Tears filled his eyes. I'll resign. We can leave Boston. I filed for divorce. He stared at me. You did that before surgery? Yes. You thought you might die. And that was what you chose to do. I wanted to die as myself, not as your wife. He reached for my hand. I moved it away. I saved thousands of people. He whispered, "That doesn't give you permission to sacrifice one. I never wanted you dead. You just wanted everything else more." A nurse opened the door. "Time's up." Ethan stood. "I still love you." I looked at the man I had once planned to grow old with. Love doesn't cancel life-saving surgery. He left without answering. An hour later, Maya received a message from Vanessa's attorney. Vanessa had offered to cooperate with the hospital investigation. She also claimed to possess a recording of Ethan discussing what would happen if I became incapacitated or died. "What exactly is on it?" I asked. Maya's expression hardened. "Ethan says that if you couldn't make decisions after surgery, he could control the trust accounts as your husband. And if I died?" "She says he discussed using your foundation shares to secure the cardiac center." My newly repaired heart beat harder. "What does Vanessa want?" $5 million for the recording. I held out my hand. "Give me the phone." Maya hesitated, then passed it over. I typed one message to Vanessa. "Send the recording to my lawyer. I don't pay people to tell the truth." Her answer came less than a minute later. "Then I hope you're ready to hear how long your husband expected you to survive." Vanessa sent the recording the next morning. Maya listened first. "You don't have to hear this yet," she said. "I need to know." She placed the phone beside me and pressed play. Vanessa's voice came first. "What happens if Claire doesn't recover from surgery?" Ethan answered. "As her husband, I can request temporary control of the joint assets." "What about the Whitmore Trust?" "That's harder." "And if she dies?" A long pause followed. Then my husband said, "Her foundation shares transfer according to the marital agreement. I could use them to secure the cardiac center." Vanessa laughed softly. "You've thought this through. I'm a surgeon. I prepare for every outcome." The recording ended. I stared at the phone. Maya reached for it. "Claire? He said that before canceling my surgery?" "According to the date. Yes. He knew I might die, and he was planning what to do with my shares. He may argue that it was ordinary estate planning. That wasn't planning. That was anticipation." Maya sat beside me. "What do you want to do?" "Send it to the hospital board, the state medical board, and the trust attorneys." "And Vanessa?" "She cooperates, or she faces the same investigation." Vanessa accepted the deal without asking for money again. 3 weeks later, I walked into the ST. Matthew's board hearing with a cane in one hand and Maya beside me. Ethan sat across the room with 2 attorneys. He looked at the scar above my collar and then looked away. The board chair, Margaret Collins, began with the scheduling decision. Dr. Cole, did you authorize the removal of your wife's procedure from the operating schedule? I approved a temporary postponement based on clinical priorities. I leaned toward the microphone. Vanessa was stable. Ethan's attorney objected. Mrs. Cole is not qualified to interpret another patient's condition. The nurse who had spoken to me outside the operating room was called next. Rachel's hands shook as she testified. Ms. Lane was stable. Her procedure had originally been scheduled for several months later. Why was it moved? Margaret asked. Dr. Cole instructed us to make the change. Did he tell Mrs. Cole? No. Why not? He said the news could trigger an emotional episode. Maya slid Ethan's altered medical note across the table. He wrote that before Claire discovered the affair, she said he was creating a record that could be used to discredit her. Ethan finally looked at me. I was trying to manage a dangerous situation. You mean me? I asked. I mean your stress. You lied to keep me compliant. I was protecting you. Stop calling control protection. The financial officer testified next. Cole Cardiac Innovations had received payments from hospital vendors. Larkwell Strategic Consulting had invoiced the expansion project for services it could not prove it had provided. Ethan had authorized the $3 million transfer. Vanessa appeared by video. Margaret asked, Did Dr. Cole move Mrs. Cole's surgery because you threatened to expose the payments? Vanessa hesitated. Yes. Ethan stood. That's a lie. His attorney pulled him back into his chair. Vanessa continued. I told him I would go to the board. He said Claire could wait. He said he would reschedule her after my procedure. Did you believe Mrs. Cole's delay was medically safe? I didn't ask. Her answer hurt, but at least it was honest. Then Maya played the recording. When Ethan's voice filled the room, he stopped looking like a respected surgeon under review. He looked like a man hearing his own choices for the first time. Afterward, he leaned toward the microphone. I never wanted my wife to die. I answered before anyone else could. You didn't need to want me dead. You only needed to believe my life was worth risking. I saved thousands of patients, and you nearly killed the one person who trusted you most. The board placed Ethan on indefinite suspension and referred the financial records and altered medical documentation to state investigators. No one applauded. Real consequences did not arrive like a movie ending. They arrived as sealed files, licensing reviews, civil claims, and attorneys who stopped returning Ethan's calls. Outside the hearing room, he caught up with me. Claire, wait. Maya stepped between us. It's fine. I told her. Ethan looked exhausted. Vanessa is blaming everything on me. You blamed everything on her. She manipulated me. She didn't force you to sign the transfer. I was under pressure. She didn't force you to alter my chart. I was afraid you'd make a decision you regretted. I don't regret leaving you. His face tightened. You're really ending 10 years over the worst week of my life? No. I'm ending it because that week showed me who you had become. What about who I was before? I remembered the young resident who brought me soup after a 12-hour shift. The man who once slept in a chair beside my bed because I was afraid my heart would stop during the night. I loved him. I said, I'm still him. No, he would have protected me from you. Ethan's eyes filled with tears. Did you ever love me? I loved you enough to keep forgiving things I should have faced. And now I love myself enough to stop. The divorce took 8 months. Ethan challenged the frozen accounts, but the court found that most of the money belonged to my premarital trust. The $3 million transfer remained blocked pending investigation. I did not shut down St. Matthews. Instead, I redirected the expansion funds into an independently managed patient care foundation. Existing surgeries continued. Staff kept their jobs. Every future donation required outside oversight. When Margaret called to thank me, I said, Don't thank me. Change the system that let one surgeon decide whose life mattered more. We will. Put it in writing. She did. A year after my surgery, Gabriel completed my final follow-up. Your valve is functioning well, he said. Your heart looks strong. Strong enough for coffee? He glanced up. With caffeine? I was asking socially. For the first time, I saw him lose his practiced calm. You're no longer my patient after today. I know. And you're certain this isn't gratitude? No. Gratitude would be a thank you card. He smiled. Then yes. Coffee. Coffee only. That's usually how coffee works. I laughed, and nothing in my chest hurt. I had sold the house Ethan and I shared. I had returned to medical investment work. I still attended therapy. Still checked my pulse when I woke during the night. And still had days when missing him felt like another illness. Healing did not erase love. It taught me that love was not a reason to remain where I was unsafe. Ethan had canceled the surgery meant to save my life, but leaving him was the operation that finally saved my heart.